Level 1. The birthday party organizer. Your party is at 80 people and working perfectly when Marcus walks in. He wasn't on the list. Nobody put him on the list. Your girlfriend whose 25th birthday this is, whose playlist you spent 3 weeks building, whose fairy lights you hung alone on a Tuesday, did not mention Marcus would be attending. He finds the kitchen immediately. The way people find kitchens at parties they know they shouldn't be at. You are getting ice from the spare room when you understand why she didn't mention him. He is not surprised to see you. That is the part that stays. You walk back out holding a bag of ice, and a stranger named Derek asks if you organize parties professionally, and you say you're thinking about it, and somewhere between the spare room and that question, your career begins. Marcus at this point does not know that. Level 2. The promoter. Your first promotional post gets 14 likes. One of them is your mom. She liked it twice somehow. You have 340 Instagram followers. 80 from high school. 30 are bots. 12 are cousins who will like anything. The algorithm looks at your account and makes a decision you can feel but not measure. You print 500 flyers anyway. The print shop guy looks at your design and says nothing, which is a form of feedback. You hand out 40 before you realize nobody takes flyers from strangers anymore. This is 2024. You knew this. What you figure out around week 3 is that the event is not the product. The anxiety of missing it is the product. You don't sell tickets. You sell the discomfort of not being in the right room. This is either marketing or manipulation. At this level, they are the same thing. Your first collab. A DJ with 8,000 followers who can't organize anything. His name, your logistics. The oldest arrangement in the industry. Neither of you knows that. First real event. 200 capacity. 180 sold. Cost to acquire those people. 3 weeks, 600 DMs, 14-story countdowns, 2 paid ads that performed so badly the platform sent suggestions, and 1 panic attack at 11 p.m. when pre-sales stall at 90. Revenue minus costs across 3 events. $340, not profit, evidence. 180 people came because you specifically asked. Not the venue, not the DJ, not any existing reputation. You. The $340 goes in your notes app. Screenshot. Save twice. Then you see Marcus at a competing event. Same Friday. VIP. Your ex next to him. She's wearing a wristband that costs more than your entire production budget. Week 6. You sit in your car at lunch and genuinely calculate whether this is self-punishment that learned to use a ticket link. Then you remember stopping means Marcus won something. That thought is the only reason you start the engine. You can fill a room. You cannot put anyone worth seeing in it. That turns out to be a different skill with a different price. Level 3. The booker. You email a DJ you like. His fee is $4,000. Your entire production budget is $4,000. You stare at the reply for a while, then start learning how artist fees actually work, which is. They don't, not in any direction you'd predict, and the confusion is load-bearing. Your first real booking comes with a rider. You don't know what a rider is. It includes a specific vodka, a fruit platter with a melon exclusion stated twice, a dressing room with a working lock and a scented candle. The scent is specified. You spend $60 on the candle. The artist never enters the dressing room. The candle burns for 4 hours next to a fruit platter with no melon in a locked room that smells like eucalyptus and cedar for no one. He arrives 40 minutes late to sound check. Adjust the EQ for 25 minutes on a system your sound tech already calibrated. Asks why the stage faces this direction. You explain it is the only direction, given the load-bearing wall. He nods like you said something philosophical. You say nothing. This is a skill. 72 hours before your biggest show, the headliner cancels. 3 sentences from his manager and a sentence fragment. 600 tickets sold. You find a replacement in 4 hours. Refund 40 tickets. Do not sleep. Then a smaller act someone you booked on gut, not numbers, performs to 220 people who know every word. You watch from the back. Nobody checks their phone for 35 minutes. That 35 minutes is the actual job, not the rider, not the ego, not the melon clause. You learn through a mutual contact that Marcus has been running a booking company for 8 months. Direct relationships with agents you've been cold emailing. He has access to talent at the level you're trying to reach. And he got there first. You can fill rooms and you can book acts. You've never done both outdoors with 2,000 strangers, a weather forecast, and a permit that touches 6 departments. One of those departments only accepts paper forms. Level 4. The festival promoter. You are on hold with the city permit office for 47 minutes when someone answers and transfers you. You are on hold again. A festival permit, it turns out, is not one permit. It touches noise, public assembly, food handling, alcohol, fire safety, parking, and environmental impact. Each belongs to a different department. Each has different hours. You meet Gary at a production meeting 3 weeks out. Gary has done this for 22 years and speaks entirely in tired sentences. He tells you 1 portable toilet per 75 attendees. You have 2,000 tickets. You order 26. Gary says 28. You order 28. You will understand why at hour 7. You will never question Gary again. Day of show, it rains at 2 p.m. Your sound engineer moves equipment with a precision that only comes from worse. You ask him once what worse looks like. He doesn't answer. At 6 p.m., 800 people arrive at 2 entry gates designed for 200 per hour. The queue wraps the block. Someone posts a photo. It spreads modestly, not enough to manage, enough to remember. You open a 3rd gate using staff pulled from the vendor corridor. The vendor corridor becomes a problem 90 minutes later. Then it works. Despite the permits, the rain, the queue, the toilet situation, Gary silently predicted 2,000 people are in a field listening to music you chose. You stand at the back of the main stage at 9 p.m. Someone near you says this is the best festival they've been to this year. You do not tell them about the permits. Revenue, $180,000. Costs, $176,000. Net, $4,000. Same feeling as the $340. Not profit. Evidence. You file it next to the screenshot. Save twice. 3 weeks later, someone contacts you through a contact of a contact. There's a different kind of audience, he says. One that doesn't want permits, gates, or approved lineups. They want a warehouse and a telegram link. Address arrives 4 hours before doors. You ask about the police risk. He says it depends on the relationship. You ask what relationship. He says that's the relationship. Level 5, the rave host. You have spent 2 years learning how to do everything legally. You now distribute an address through a telegram link 4 hours before doors. Finding a warehouse for an unpermitted event is a specific skill. Most owners say yes until they understand what yes means. Then they say no. You find a location through a person who found it through a person who does not want to be named in any context. 800 people show up having received an address 4 hours ago, paid through a link that no longer exists, and been told nothing about the lineup except to trust it. They trust it. This crowd existed before your marketing. They were already looking for somewhere to go. Your job was to give them the address, not the hype, not the FOMO. The address, different product entirely. At 2 a.m., 2 officers arrive, not aggressively, procedurally. You meet them in the parking lot. The conversation takes 11 minutes. You have 45 minutes to wrap. You go inside. Give the DJ a hand signal you rehearsed for this possibility. He reads it immediately. Starts the closing sequence a wind down, not a stop. Nobody in the building knows what just happened. 3rd event. Someone has a bad night. Not from your event arrived that way. Water, a quiet corner, a person who stays, a call that stays off the record. They're fine. You are one of 3 people who know. There is no incident report, no liability waiver. The moral weight of responsibility for people who don't know you're responsible for them. Underground events have no legal floor. The ethical floor is wherever you decide to put it. 3rd rave, 1,200 people. Better sound, tighter operation, a guy selling glow sticks from a fanny pack who somehow got through your security with the confidence of someone who does this professionally and possibly does. You stand in the warehouse at 4 a.m. and do the calculation you've been avoiding. The format works. It cannot grow. It cannot be protected. It will end because of something you cannot control. The ceiling is right above you. You need a building, a license. Infrastructure that can hold what you now understand an audience actually is. Marcus already has one. 3 blocks from where yours is going to be. Level 6. The venue operator. The fire suppression system was last serviced in 2019 by a company that no longer exists. You discover this on your 3rd day as a venue owner, along with the fact that the sound system is $40,000. The liquor license is $15,000 and renews annually whether the year was good or not. And the insurance costs more than the car you paid off last spring. Everything you previously walked through without thinking has a price, an expiry date, and a person whose job it is to notice when it fails. That person is now you. Your first bar manager leaves in 6 weeks for $3 more per hour. The second stays longer. He develops a pattern of arriving 12 minutes late consistent enough to be deliberate, narrow enough to stay inside what's fireable. You document 4 instances. Write him up on the 4th. Let him go the following Friday. He posts something vague that evening. 3 people like it. You don't respond. A birthday party becomes a fight. Filmed. 60,000 views by morning, not because of your venue, but because 2 of the people involved have pre-existing internet beef you had no way of knowing about. You handle social media, a police report, insurance, the victim's family, and a local news inquiry inside 36 hours. You do not sleep during this period. What you notice in the data 3 months in: 40% of revenue from 15% of customers. They come back, not for events, for the room. They've stopped deciding whether to come. They assume this is the thing. The thing you've been building since a birthday party worked for 80 people, and you were holding a bag of ice in a doorway. Marcus opens his venue in October, 3 blocks from yours. Lineup you can't afford, production that implies investors. The line outside is long. You stand across the street for 11 minutes watching it. You leave. Best financial month in December. Sitting alone inside at 2 a.m. Everything worked. The crowd was right. The staff performed. The numbers are good. You should feel something larger than this. You don't know why you don't. You lock up. Level 7. The festival producer. You haven't confirmed a porta-toilet delivery in 2 years. Someone else does that now. You think about Gary sometimes. Your first multi-stage festival has a main stage crew, a second stage crew, a vendor coordinator, a sponsor liaison, a security contractor, an artist logistics team, a production manager, and a group chat that generates messages at 2 a.m. on Saturdays without fail. You are responsible for outcomes you no longer directly produce. This is either delegation or exposure. At this scale, it is both. The headline sponsor's contract is 34 pages. You read all of it, which is how you find the clause giving the brand approval rights over any public statement within 24 hours of the event. You read that clause 3 times. You sign. The money came with a leash. Night 2. Headliner's private jet delayed, not canceled. Delayed. 18,000 people waiting. You have 4 minutes. You flip the running order, push a mid-bill act into the headline slot, write a tweet that buries the news inside gratitude language. The mid-bill artist performs the best set of his career because nobody told him until 40 minutes before, and he had no time to be afraid. 6 weeks later, a penalty clause activates in a vendor contract your operations manager renegotiated without checking. Cost: $35,000. You delegated the authority. The liability is still yours. You don't fire him. You build a new approval threshold. Marcus is producing festivals now. Same weekend as yours. Different genre. Same talent pool. You spend $40,000 more on one booking specifically because he was also pursuing the act. The act wasn't even your first choice. You know this. You do it anyway and spend 3 weeks not sure what that says about why you make decisions. 30,000 people across 2 days. 3 stages. 0 major incidents. You stand at the back of the main stage at 10 p.m. and feel the same thing from the warehouse, from the field in the rain, from the birthday party that worked for 80 people. Same feeling. The number around it keeps changing. The feeling doesn't. You built something 30,000 people believed in this weekend. You also spent $40,000 of it trying to beat a man you told yourself you stopped thinking about. Level 8. The festival owner. Marcus's festival folds. You read about it in an industry newsletter, between an ad for ticketing software and an ad for booking platforms. 2 sentences. No context. The kind of item that appears when an owner stops returning calls and a lease expires quietly. You make coffee. That is the whole reaction. The ceiling you spent years climbing toward was built on one exceptional run and reputation management that outlasted the run by several years. You tracked his venues informally for 2 years. You spent $40,000 on a booking specifically to beat him, and the thing you were racing ended before you noticed. Then the investors find you. They call your operations manager's cell not yours, which is how you know they've done research. The meetings produce a recurring disagreement. They want streaming data confirmed names. You want the act nobody's booked yet who will matter in 18 months. You win some. The ones you lose make the festival safer and less interesting in ways the quarterly projections will never reflect. A vendor files a breach claim from 2 years ago. Not entirely wrong. Amount disconnected from reality. Lawyer says settle. You settle. You are now the kind of operation that settles. This is a sentence about scale. It doesn't feel like one. 3 venues, a festival brand, 40 staff, investor calls, year-round operations. The fear is larger than when you had nothing, not proportionally, categorically. You understand now that the fear was never the symptom. It was the thing keeping you honest. Marcus stopped being afraid at exactly the wrong moment and never noticed. The fear was the work. When it went quiet, so did everything that earned it. You are not afraid of Marcus. You are afraid of becoming him. An email arrives from a private equity group, hotel properties, lifestyle programming. 2 of your 3 venues. The number is real. You read it 3 times. Close the laptop. Don't call back that week. You sit with the question of why you don't. Level 9. The exit. You call them back. The conversation takes 14 minutes. You've been building toward this for 8 years and it takes 14 minutes. You sell the festival brand and 2 venues. You keep the original, the one opened on your savings, and a credit card at 22% APR you swore was finished. They ask once. You say no once. They move on. Under new ownership, the festival gets a cleaner logo, a bigger sponsor, a headline act that would have been impossible at your budget. You attend once from the back as a guest. Everything is better. Nothing is right. You go into the original venue twice a week. Check the spreadsheets when you feel like it. Don't always feel like it. Your operations manager 4 years in handles the rest. You still pick the music yourself. Nobody required it. You just never stopped. One Tuesday, you see someone through the window, early 20s, standing on the sidewalk watching your door supervisor work the line, not on their phone. Counting something, the timing of the decisions, the logic of who gets waved through. The exact look you had at 22, standing outside rooms you couldn't afford, memorizing things you didn't yet know how to use. You send 2 drinks out through a server. You don't go outside. The PE group's new programming director calls about a consulting arrangement. Late 20s. Clearly talented. He plays you a 20-minute sample of what he's been building. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.